Welcome to Crime Over Wine Weekly. It is Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I'm Michelle Heron. Here are your crime headlines. Harvey Weinstein's retrial on rape and sexual assault charges is now set for November. The 72-year-old is currently in jail on Rikers Island, serving a 16-year sentence out of California. An Iowa man is facing life in prison after being convicted of murdering his mother and dog. On Friday, a jury found Tyler Daisy guilty of killing his mom, Jennifer Daisy, and killing her dog, Echo. Investigators say Tyler told them his mother, quote, was in her bed practicing witchcraft. He was previously found incompetent to stand trial, but that decision was reversed in May. Closing arguments are expected to start today in the case of a wife accused of shooting her husband to death. Marcia Thompson is accused of killing her husband, Terry Thompson, in 2019 in their Florida home. Marcia claims the shooting happened after Terry threatened to slit her throat and kill her during an argument. A judge denied her request to dismiss the charges under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Hello, friends, and thank you for joining us on this latest episode of Crime Over Wine Weekly. Heather is taking a little bit of time off, spending the vacation at the beach. We hope she is soaking in all of the sun and all of the vitamin C that she needs. And so this week we have a very special guest. We are joined by Rachel Holloway of the podcast Like Mother, Like Murder, a close friend of the Crime Vineyard. Hello, Rachel, and welcome to Crime Over Wine Weekly. How are you?
I am so good. Hi, and thank you so much for having me here. It's so exciting because Crime Over Wine holds like such a special place in my heart. And now to be asked to join a Crime Over Wine Weekly, I just could not pass that up. So I'm so grateful to be here with you, Michelle.
We are so glad, and I've listened to some of your podcasts, and so it's like kind of before we started like recording, I was like fangirling because I feel like I'm meeting like someone that I look up to in the podcast world. So this is just a really cool experience, and we're so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm so excited. And likewise, because I listen to Crime Over Wine Weekly, and it has only been a matter of time till I could get in here and do this with you. And hopefully I can just hold my ground with your professionalism, because it ain't me. But I'll do my best.
I think you're going to do just fine. Let's go ahead and get to the best part of Crime Over Wine Weekly, and we're talking about the wine. This week, we are drinking Joel Gott's Sauvigon Blanc. It has aromas of honeydew melon, pineapple, white peach, and juicy pear, with citrus notes. On the palate, the wine opens with ripe, tropical fruit flavors, followed by crisp, refreshing acidity on the mid-palate and notes of ruby red grapefruit on the long, clean, balanced finish. So, Rachel, cheers to you. Let's give it a try.
Cheers. I have not opened mine, so I am slacking. I'm used to, like, opening it and having dramatic effect, so I apologize for that.
I love the gnats of the wine pouring.
I had to come super extra. Okay, going for a drink. All right. Whoa, first sip in a while. That's
what you were saying. You haven't had wine in a good minute.
No, I haven't, and I have been eagerly awaiting this moment. Like, it wasn't anything where I was like, oh man, I'm trying to do really well, and now I have to. No, I was so excited to come and have a glass of wine with you. So, and this is pretty good, actually.
I will say, Sauvignon Blanc is kind of hit and miss for me, and I was a little bit nervous picking this one out because I know, like, I'm either going to really like it or really not like it, but I do like this. It does have that really crisp, like, finish, but it has a lot of flavors going on. I mean, I definitely can taste the peach. I can taste the pineapple and the melon. I don't taste the grapefruit, though. Do you?
No grapefruit, but I was going to say you're much better with your palate, because I was just going to say I taste fruits. I could taste the fruit in there. I did want to ask, was yours chilled? I wonder if that has,
yes.
Yeah, mine was not chilled, which maybe that would I don't know if that would do anything. Also, mine is a 2022, and I think that yours is a 2020, if I'm correct. So I don't know
Yeah,
if that's any different, but I am enjoying it, which normally I am a red wine girl. But this is nice and refreshing and exactly where I want to be right now.
Good. And I was going to ask you, like, if you had a choice, like, what's your go-to for a glass of wine?
So I typically go to a Cab Sauv. 19 Crimes Cab Sauv is the bottle that I buy the most, and definitely have way too many bottles just sitting on my shelf. So I love Cab Sauv. It's very rare that I do a white wine, but if I do, it's a Sauv Blanc. There's one called Ivory, I think it is, which is my favorite. It is delicious. So if you guys have not done that on the podcast yet, I highly recommend it.
Okay, we will definitely take note because we're always looking for recommendations here. So, Ivory Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture of it. It's delicious.
So Liam did just he's kind of listening in the background, and he did just put in the chat that chilling white wine, it does bring out the acidity, but excessive chilling will mute other flavors. So and then obviously if it's more of a, what does it say? It says Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Grigio are best between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So
Okay, so the temperature had nothing to do, well, because mine wasn't chilled, with me getting those flavors. That's just a me thing, is what I got from that.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay. Well, we have so much to share with you this week, including the search for 4 brothers. They're all under the age of 5, plus a breakthrough in a case more than half a century old. It's all coming up on Crime Over Wine Weekly.
Crime Over Wine is sponsored by BetterHelp. As someone who's used therapy for years, I know that finding a therapist can sometimes be a stress on its own, juggling your full-time job, your family, your friends, your podcast, and trying to find the right therapist on top of that can almost feel impossible. That's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp matches you with a therapist that works for you on your terms. It's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to one of 33,000 licensed professional therapists in as little as a few days. And because finding a new therapist is a lot like finding a new bottle of wine, if you don't jive with your therapist, you can easily switch to a new one at no additional cost. You can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by going to betterhelp.com/crimeoverwine. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/crimeoverwine for 10% off your first month. Join over 4 million people who decided to get help and get happy with BetterHelp.
Welcome back to Crime Over Wine Weekly. A family out of Monterey Park, California, is searching for their 15-year-old daughter who went missing on Tuesday, July 16th. Allison Jillian Chow was last seen leaving her home, riding her bike, carrying a black backpack. She left her home around 5:30 p.m. with the plan to go to her aunt's house, but never arrived there. Allison's mother, Annie Chow, in an interview, thanks the community for really coming together and trying to help search and find her daughter. But she expresses how there's no play-by-play on how or what to do in these awful situations, such as having to search for your child. Family members describe Allison as an Asian female, 5'2", weighing about 96 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen on her blue mountain bike, wearing a purple shirt, black shorts, and dark shoes in the 200 block of North Yanez Avenue in Monterey Park on Tuesday. They have asked the surrounding businesses in the area to look at their surveillance cameras to see if they can spot Allison or any activity that may involve her in it. If you have any information about Allison's whereabouts or anything that could help bring her home, please contact the Monterey Park Police at 626-573-1311.
A search is underway in California for 4 missing brothers, ranging in ages from 2 to 5 years old. Caden Brown, age 2, Case Brown, age 4, Kai Brown, age 4, and Cohen Brown, age 5, were last seen on July 1st in Palmdale. Investigators say this case is a custody issue where the boys were taken by a relative, but they are not sure which family member. This case is currently not considered a kidnapping, but investigators say that could change. Anyone with information should call 661-272-2454. A breakthrough in a case more than half a century old. Investigators now believe they know who stabbed a Wisconsin man to death at a gas station. Wayne Pratt was found dead inside a gas station in June of 1963 in Winnebago, Wisconsin. Wayne's wife, Marie Pratt, told police she discovered his body in a back room of a gas station covered with a blanket. He was stabbed 53 times. He was 24 years old at the time. Marie says her husband had been at home watching TV the night of the stabbing. They lived about 50 feet from the gas station. He went outside when a car pulled up. Marie says she went to the gas station to check on her husband when she realized that the lights had not been turned on. Investigators say the suspect's blood was found at the scene too, but the technology wasn't available to move the case forward, so it grew cold. In 2011, the case was officially reopened, and in 2015, investigators found DNA mixtures on the blanket that was found on top of Wayne's body. But because of the mixed DNA, investigators could not enter the information into a database to find a suspect. Now, fast forward to 2018, police interviewed William Doxtator of Bowler, Wisconsin. He was 82 at the time. He told investigators that he frequented the gas station often and that he was there either the day of or the day before the murder. Doxtator was originally a suspect days after Wayne's murder. They also received tips about him in connection to the murder over the years. Also, a couple of days after the murder happened, a nearby police department contacted investigators saying Doxtator showed up to pay a fine in cash, and they thought that it was weird that he had all this cash on him. He was also on parole at the time for breaking and entering, and he was driving a car that fit the description of the car that pulled into the gas station that night. Now, fast forward to this year, a cyber genetics company pieced together the DNA profile from the mixture that was found on that blanket, and it led them to Doxtator. Now, unfortunately, he died in 2022, so there's nothing more that investigators can do. And I think one of the heartbreaking parts of this situation is that Marie spent the rest of her life trying to find her husband's killer, but she passed away before this discovery. So it is sad that she went the rest of her life still trying to find who killed her husband, who did this, but at least Marie and Wayne are together again now in the afterlife.
That is so sad that she waited. She tried to figure out answers. She did what she could. And like, I want to feel in every single part of my being that she's up there and she knows that, you know, this person was found. And even though she passed before, it's something that she can like kind of hold on to even in the afterlife, because that makes me so sad knowing that she passed right before that.
Yeah. And like, even thinking about, you know, this happened in the 60s. So it was so much different going to a gas station than, you know, you didn't pump your own gas. Right. Like, they came out and did it for you. And so it's like, would something similar like that happen? You know, if this had happened in more recent times, would he
have gotten
still be here? You know, who knows?
There's so much more to it nowadays, too, with different cameras on every single, you know, street corner and people pulling out their phones and recording things. But I mean, with the time difference, it definitely makes you think.
Yeah. And the fact that this company was able to piece together the DNA profile from this mixture on the blanket, you know, that the technology wasn't developed enough to have that back in the 60s, but fast forward to now, they were able to do that. And I think that it's just also amazing that investigators haven't stopped. Like, you know what I mean? They continue to test DNA that they have and continue to try and move cases forward in that aspect so that there can at least be answers. There's family somewhere that will appreciate the fact that this was solved.
It has come so far, and it's one of those things where I'm so thankful that even with this case, with other cases, we see how much with the advancements in DNA that cases are getting solved and answers are, justice is being served for these families. And I just hope that people, even if it's been one of those things where people fight forever for their loved ones, and I'm not someone who's experienced stuff like this, but I can only imagine how tiring and how hard and heavy and exhausting that could be. And so seeing this kind of stuff take place and seeing other people's cases get solved, hopefully that helps them to continue to fight, for their loved ones to find answers if it comes to like a DNA or genealogy type thing. So I love to see it.
Definitely.
After this break on Crime Over Wine Weekly, a mystery in Georgia where a missing man was last seen and where police are looking for him today.
Crime Over Wine is proud to support Emancipet. Today, there are over 60 million beloved pets across the country whose families cannot access or afford veterinary care. With your help, Emancipet is changing that. Emancipet is a nonprofit that offers low-cost vet care for those who need it most. They rely on donations to keep their costs low for pet families across the country. You can support Emancipet's mission at emancipet.org.
Hello, Crime Over Wine listeners. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We are the hosts of Like Mother, Like Murder.
We bring you the good, the badass, and the crime.
Each week, we bring you stories from missing and murdered
to survivors and women who empower you.
And of course, some mom talk sprinkled in.
Check us out wherever you get your podcasts at Like Mother, Like Murder.
And give us a follow on social media so that we can say hi.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
It's been 2 years since a Georgia man was last seen. Investigators say 23-year-old Trent Heyer led them on a pursuit on Highway 84 over Barnett's Creek. Investigators say he allegedly jumped off a bridge and was never seen again. Multiple searches below the bridge turned up nothing. His family is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to where he is. Call the Thomas County Sheriff's Office at 229-225-3300.
Family members and the community gathered together July 11th for Taylor Casey's birthday to raise awareness and plead for the Bahamian police to keep searching for Taylor, who lived in Chicago but went missing while on a yoga retreat in the Bahamas. June 19th was the last time anyone has seen Taylor Casey, and it was on Paradise Island in the Bahamas. During the yoga retreat, members came forward to local law enforcement to say that one of the members, Taylor, didn't show up and no one was able to get a hold of her and hadn't seen her. Taylor was there at the Sivananda Ashram Yoga Retreat to receive her certification to become a yoga instructor at the time of her disappearance. Her family expresses their deepest concerns because not only was this not like her or something that she wouldn't do, but she had plans when she returned. So leaving on her own free will is out of the question to those who knew and loved her. Taylor's phone was found in the water near a boating dock by police on June 24th, 5 days after her disappearance, but investigators have not been able to access anything from the phone quite yet. Family said that the Royal Bahamas Police Force said that they would update the family this past week, but have yet to do so. And a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that the police force and family are working together and the case is still open. But the family seeks more answers that they have not been given at this time. In an article just released on July 19th, Taylor is described as a fixture of Chicago's transgender community. And I wanted to read a quote from the article from one of Taylor's friends. She says, "I can't even express to folks who are not part of the community how frequently we lose our women and how frequently our Black trans women are just gone, usually due to some form of violence or something really, really unfortunate happening." When Taylor was first reported missing, the family said that they chose to wait until widely sharing Casey's gender identity because Casey's gender was more to her than that of a transgender woman. But her friends and family believe that her gender identity has impacted this investigation, stating that a young white woman would get much more coverage and that Taylor is just as deserving, which is 100% true. Family and friends of Taylor are not willing to stop fighting and searching for her and are going to continue pressing the Bahamian police for support in continuing search efforts. Following this case, I can tell you this family, her friends, the community are not going to give up or stop fighting. And that's exactly what Taylor needs right now, is everyone fighting for her and to find answers to what happened and where she is. If you have any information that can lead to answers in Taylor Casey's disappearance, please contact the Area 5 Special Victims Unit at 312-746-6554 and go follow at Find Taylor Casey on Instagram to help spread awareness and share Taylor's story with everyone. Now, in my news of the week, I want to talk about Bianca Carrasco, whose birthday was yesterday, and her family and a support team of amazing people came together to spread even more awareness, share flyers, information, do interviews, talk to reporters, sell merch, all of the things with so many people in the northeast part of San Antonio yesterday. Happy birthday to Bianca, who would be celebrating her 38th birthday, but has been missing since May of 2016. May 1st, 2016 was the last time anyone had any communication with Bianca. At the time of her disappearance, it is believed that her and her husband had gotten into an argument and that he allegedly confiscated her cell phone and had withdrawn all of her money out of her bank account after accusing Bianca of having an affair. Law enforcement has looked into the husband, but it has not led to an arrest or him being named a suspect. In an article that came out this week, there has been developments in other local cases in the San Antonio area. A man was arrested in connection with sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl in 1998, and this was because of the advancements in DNA evidence. So Bianca's family is holding on to any and all hope that they have, that with these advancements in DNA testing, answers in Bianca's disappearance are coming. The family is begging, requesting, asking the San Antonio Police Department to come forward with the pings from the cell phones so that they can know exactly where they should be searching. They have people. They have rallied together to form a community of people who are fighting and searching and want to find Bianca and find justice for her and her kids and her family. And they have done so much on their own, and now they want to know the exact locations of where to look so that they can do more. July 20th, they held their first public event for Bianca's birthday. The Carrascos and friends went to Frisenham Park to share flyers as a reminder that she's still missing and needs to be found. Crime Stoppers is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to Bianca herself, and the case is still open and being investigated. If you have any information, please contact the San Antonio Police Department at 210-954-1476, or you can call Crime Stoppers to leave an anonymous tip at 210-224-STOP.
So my heart really goes out to this family and Bianca and just the entire situation, because it's like she's around my age. And so I think about just people that I know, like, you know what I mean? Like that can literally happen
To
anyone. And then also, like, why I understand investigators wanting to, like, you know, keep the integrity of the case, but in a lot of cases of missing people, they share where the last pings of cell phones are. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, why can't they do that in this case so that they can search for her? The family, like, the family's like, we'll do
Right.
it. We'll search.
Yeah.
Just tell us
Yeah,
where.
and they are willing to do anything and everything. I've talked with her sister, Giovanna, and the family is fighting, and they are not going to stop. And it's one of those things where I really, you know, I wish I had every answer, and I wish that I could be inside the brains or a fly on the wall in the law enforcement, in the investigator's office, whatever it is, because it's been over 8 years. So it's not like something that is new and you're trying to withhold this information to hold on to the integrity of the case or whatever it is. I want to be supportive and understanding when those kind of things happen, but it's been 8 years. So when are we going to actually do the things that need to be done to help and find her or hold this person accountable? And it breaks my heart. I feel so bad for her family.
Absolutely. And so kind of at first it sounded like maybe the husband was involved, but then this other information, kind of as new information is coming out about other missing persons cases, like maybe the husband's not involved and maybe it's someone else. Is that kind of, am I
allowed to speak as frankly as possible? Because to me, I mean, yes, the news articles, people are coming forward when it comes to, you know, other cases that are being looked into and, you know, coming forward. But I still, to me, allegedly, everything points to the husband. And there's so much that when it comes to the argument that happened in the beginning and their relationship as a whole, which it's been 8 years. So there's been so many people that have came forward to talk about their relationship over a time, how it was in the weeks and the months leading up to her disappearance. And you cannot hold anyone accountable without that concrete evidence. And I understand that, and I appreciate that part of the system. But there's just, I don't believe in coincidence. And there's so many things to me as someone who looks into this that just lead straight to him. And so I'm hoping that with all of the thing that I kind of like pray for and hope for is with all of this conversation, with so many people talking about it, with the fact that the family is not going to stop, it's going to scare people into talking and scare people into the conversation that needs to happen that will lead to justice for this family.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in cold cases, there is value in time as far as people feeling more comfortable to speak with information that they know, because relationships change, alliances change, people get older and mature and understand the value in doing the right thing. And so, like, I hope that time does work in the benefit of Bianca and justice for her and her family.
Yes. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Good case. Also, in the missing persons case with Taylor.
I could talk about that all day.
Yeah. I never thought about the aspect of family and loved ones not wanting to, I don't know if out someone is the right word, but kind of take something as far as their gender, like, away from them. You know, I never thought about that in aspects like this where they go missing, where you don't want to take that away because it is something that's so important, but also at the same time, could it be a part of the reason as to why they were targeted? I never considered that. And I'm naive sometimes, and I get that. But like, I just really appreciate the way that you explained all that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that while I was reading this, my heart just was shattered because you're in this moment of grief. You're in this moment of desperation when it comes to trying to find your loved one. And then the next thing that you have to think about is, how do I explain, or how do I describe, or how do I talk about my daughter, right? And that kills me. Like, I have full body chills right now, because no one should ever have to feel that way when it comes to talking about their loved one. And so, and then add the circumstances of your child is missing, and then you have to make that choice to hold on to that temporarily for a moment to try to get as much coverage or as much not notoriety, just as much. What's the right word? Help me out here, Michelle.
I think like the fair attention of media and investigators. Like, you want them to search for you just as hard and be just as meticulous as you would, say, someone that is blonde-haired, blue-eyed from an affluent community.
And that's why the family says it exactly, how they say it. And if this was a young white woman, how much more coverage, how many more people would be talking about this? And that's why it's one of the things, I can't stop sharing it. I can't stop talking about it. And I'm just shocked that, you'll see so many things talked about and shared and put out there. And why not Taylor? And that's why it's kind of like one of those things where I'm not going to stop. And I love that her family and her friends and her community, honestly, Chicago, whether it's LGBTQ plus, like that community as well, everyone coming together to share her story and to not let this just be swept under a rug, because that's not what's going to happen here. So, yeah. It's so sad. And to know, like, the phone was found, there's so many questions that I have inside of me that I'm just like, oh, I want to be in the Bahamas right now, not on vacation, I guess is the best way to say that.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, this has been so much fun. Like, having you on, talking about these cases. Not that I doubted you for any
I doubted
moment, but you brought some like really cool cases that were interesting to talk about and think and, kind of stir around a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I doubted myself a little bit, because listening to Crime Over Wine Weekly and Liam, when he decides to come back on his Wednesdays, but just there's such a difference in people that have worked in this world when it comes to both reporting and crime, that I'm just over here faking it till I make it and doing my best. And it's something I'm very passionate about. And I really do a lot of research and effort on my own. But listening and following you guys and kind of seeing you guys do your thing, I look up to it. And I'm just so thankful that you guys invited me on today.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to passion and like feeling passionate about sharing these stories, about digging in and looking at the information yourself and talking to people. And like, that is what shows, you know what I mean? Whether it's on TV or it's through a podcast, like, or maybe it's an article that maybe someone's reading online, like that is what really shines. And that's what cases like these need. You know what I mean? They need that passion of people who see it, who get it, and are willing to share it and not stop. And you're part of that club, girl.
I will be part of that club with anyone who wants to be a part of it, because you're right. Like, there needs to be more people who are willing to step up and become a part of this club and share the people's information and their stories and their names. And I say that about everyone, because every single person should have that same just publicity and awareness and all of that. And it's unfortunate that not everyone gets that. So I'm here to just start sharing everything.
Well, and it's like I like to think about it as what would I want if that was my sister? What would I want if that was my mother? Or brother, uncle, you know what I
Right.
mean? And so I think like that's where we relate
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot. So okay, so now that you've kind of been sipping on the wine for a minute,
Can you
like,
tell?
are you still liking it? I'm like, I already need a refill.
Yes. So I am still liking it. I'm liking it a whole lot. I will be honest, I'm not picking up on, I can never pick specific like fruits and stuff, but I think that comes with the fact that I don't like fruits in general. So maybe that's a part of it, but I do enjoy it. I think that it's really, really good, and it's so refreshing, especially today in Kentucky. It rained this morning, and it has been that muggy kind of like humid heat, and this is perfect. So I think this is a great pick for today, and I recommend it to everyone.
It definitely is, and I echo everything that you just said. Like, I would recommend it. I'm definitely gonna go pour another glass like here in a second. And even like when I sent the wine this week to Liam, like he was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that brand," and I had heard of them, but I think I'd only had like a red of them.
I don't think I've had anything Joel got before, which my boyfriend's name is Joel, so that's hilarious. Oh, and Liam in the chat just said, I love, with all of the O's, their Cab Sauv, which I guess I'm going to have to go and get now, since that is my fave. I know that Liam and I definitely fell in love talking about Cab Sauvs together, and I'm going to need to try that my next wine outing. I might need a break, though, because I'm feeling it.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us this week. This has been so much fun, and you're welcome back anytime.
I appreciate that so much. And thank you guys for having me. Like I said, I was so excited because Crime Over Wine has really, really been just like, from the moment I started podcasting, something that has been so big to me. Meeting Liam has been so big to me. And so finally being on here with you, and hopefully next time Heather as well, bring me on for all three, but I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and if you really like Rachel, really like listening to her, you can catch Rachel Holloway on Mother Like Murder, their podcast. Go ahead and search it, follow it, because it's definitely worth it. And thank you to everyone for listening. If you can't get enough of Crime Over Wine, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on everything, and we will see you next Monday for the next episode of Crime Over Wine Weekly.
Proud member of the Podnuga Network.